We are going to be looking back on Bob Quinn's first draft with the Detroit Lions in 2016. So like I said, Bob Quinn's first draft with the Detroit Lions came back in 2016. And honestly, it was a pretty solid draft for his first draft. I mean, it was one of his best drafts, I think you could say. Now, really the reason it was a good draft is because it was solid. He didn't miss a lot of things, and a lot of the early picks, panned out to be good players for the Detroit Lions that definitely could help them out. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, early picks should help you out. But in the past, we've had a lot of bust picks in early rounds. So looking back on 2016 draft, it wasn't bad. We have to keep in mind it was his first draft. And we also can compare it a little bit to what we've seen, but I think back in 2016 is far enough where we can really take a look at this and say, okay, he did well, he made a good pick here, or he didn't make a good pick here. Now, obviously, some of these guys can still develop and become better players. We'll have to wait and see. But let's get right into it. Bob Quinn's first draft with the Detroit Lions. So in the first round, the Detroit Lions had the 16th pick, and then Bob Quinn decided to select Taylor Decker. Now, Taylor Decker is currently our tackle, and I really like this pick. He made this pick this was kind of the start of the whole offensive line thing, the whole renewing of our offensive line that just wasn't working. We had to pass all the time, we couldn't run the ball at all. It wasn't really working, so we kind of tried to get this offensive line thing rolling, and his first pick came with Taylor Decker, and it was a really good pick. It was a solid pick. Now, again, this is the 16th pick in the draft, so you could make the argument, okay, this is a higher pick. This should be like a great player. He's a solid player for the Detroit Lions, so I'm going to grade this a B. Don't think it was a bad pick. I mean, it was a really good pick. Honestly, he's a solid player. I mean, he probably could have made maybe a better pick, but I think this is a really good pick for what the Detroit Lions needed. So I'll give it a B. Now, in the second round, he selected A'Shawn Robinson out of Alabama. And this one you could say wasn't as good as the Taylor Decker pick because obviously he's not a starter, but he could be. He's a solid player. Again, he's a rotational player as a defensive lineman. That's been a good player for the Detroit Lions. You may say that, okay, your second round pick should be better, but if you compare it to some other second round picks that we've had, like Teez Tabor, well, this one doesn't look so bad. So I'm going to give it a C+ because it's not a bad pick. It's not a great pick, but it's not a bad pick. But then in the third round, I think he hit. This is his best pick of the draft, in my opinion. And this was selecting Graham Glasgow out of Michigan. Why was this such a great pick? Not because Graham Glasgow was better than Taylor Decker, but basically because he got him in the third round. He was able to wait 3 rounds to get a really good offensive lineman in Graham Glasgow that can move around. This guy can play center and the guard positions. He did it at Michigan. He's doing it with the Detroit Lions. We're expecting him to move actually in 2019. We're expecting him to move from center last year to guard. I mean, that's what we're thinking the offensive line would look like. And if he could do that, that's just awesome. Like, that's crazy to get that out of an offensive lineman in the third round. One, it's hard to find good offensive linemen, and also ones that are versatile in the third round. That's just a really good pick. But now in the fourth round, I think he missed here. I think we can all agree on that, and that is Miles Killebrew. Miles Killebrew is a solid special teams player. Has a couple things we like, but overall in the fourth round, this is a D. Like, I can't give anything higher than that. Honestly, I could give it an F. I'm going to give it a D because who knows? Maybe something happens this offseason. Maybe he'll finally find his niche. I don't know. I'm going to give him a D. Moving into the fifth round, I think he hit again here. And this was selecting Joe Dahl. So as you can see, we have 3 offensive linemen selected. Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, and Joe Dahl. And Joe Dahl was a good player, okay? He wasn't the best offensive lineman we selected. He's not starter material right now. But what he is a guy that's serviceable. He can come in, he can help out during the rotation, and he's very versatile. Like I said, this guy's played fullback before. So with that being said, I'm giving this a B because it's in the fifth round. Like, this is a good pick here. Now, his next pick was in the fifth round. Not a very good pick. Not B material, and that is Antoine Williams. The linebacker that has currently been moving all around the league, played with the Vikings, the Panthers, that kind of thing. Not a great pick here. I'm going to have to give this a D. Wasn't the best decision for Bob Quinn, but at the same time, again, he has hit on a few to this point. Now we're moving into the later rounds of the draft, the 6th round, and his first 6th round pick came with Jake Rudock, and he always says he likes to draft one quarterback every single draft. Well, this draft he actually didn't do that, but he said there was no one on the board, like he didn't want to go reach for someone he didn't want. With that being said, back in 2016, he definitely did that, selecting Jake Rudock, who I thought was a solid pick. I like Jake Rudock. He played the backup. Now he's currently, not the backup for the Detroit Lions anymore. He's not even on the roster. Now it's David Fales and Tom Savage, but he was there for a few years. I liked him. I like what he could do with the Detroit Lions. Fortunately, it didn't work out. I think some people thought, oh, it's the next Tom Brady, 6th round pick, Michigan. Tom Brady? Nah, he wasn't really Tom Brady. But I liked the pick at the time, and it was a solid backup. I'm going to give it a C because for the time, it was a good backup. And again, this is a 6th round pick. What do you really expect? Now, this next pick, he picked a great player for the wrong scheme. Let me just say that, and that is Anthony Zettel. So again, in the 6th round, he selects Anthony Zettel, who is a really good defensive end, like a good defensive lineman. Now, I don't think he's putting up the same production that he did with the Detroit Lions with the Browns, but with that being said, he was still a really good pick for the Detroit Lions, put up some really good numbers. Problem is he didn't fit Matt Patricia's scheme, so with that being said, we moved on from Anthony Zettel. I think we probably should have tried to trade him. I don't know if they did or not. I'm not going to say they didn't because I don't know, but if they didn't, I wish they would have. I'm going to give this a B because this is a really good player for the 6th round. Problem is, he's just not with the Detroit Lions. He didn't fit the scheme, so I can't give it an A. Now, The final pick of the 6th round was our long snapper pick. Yes, in the 6th round, we drafted a long snapper. Why? I like you, Bob Quinn, and Bob Quinn we trust. We have the shirts, but dang, this was not a good pick. Bob, I think you can agree, this was a mistake. So not only did he not select him in the final round, he selected him in the 6th round, and it was a long snapper. I'm not sure why we selected a long snapper, but that's what we did. Jimmy didn't really work out. I gotta give this an F. I don't know if that looks like an F to you guys, but I gotta give it an F. I can't give him anything higher than an F. And now finally, the 7th round, the Detroit Lions were able to select Dwayne Washington, the running back. I'm gonna give this a B. I think Dwayne Washington's a solid running back. Now, he's not with the Detroit Lions anymore, but he gave us a few good plays here and there. He gave us a rotational player. But with that being said, Dwayne Washington wasn't a bad pick. I mean, this is a 7th round pick that was helping our team. That doesn't happen very often. Usually those late picks, you just kind of, oh, forget about it. Well, Dwayne Washington wasn't a guy you could really forget. He was a solid player. I'm going to give it a B for a 7th round pick. Overall, though, he's not with the Detroit Lions. So I think this was a solid draft for Bob Quinn. It wasn't special. He didn't hit on a Kenny Galladay like he did later in this draft. He didn't hit on Deshaun Ham. But what he did was make his first 3 picks in the draft useful, and he also picked 3 offensive linemen that are still currently on the team. It's not an easy thing to do. So Bob Quinn, 2016, your first draft, may have actually been your best draft. I think it's one of your most underrated drafts of all time. Bob Quinn, I like how you started it off. If you guys want to see more of these videos where I look back on things like this, whether it's Bob Quinn's draft, whatever it may be, let me know in the comments below. Thank you, Pratt, for watching, and I'm out.